but I think it's just a little bit better of a value considering you're getting that added complication to the watch. My next pick is definitely going to be a divisive one in the comments. It's a love or hate it kind of design, and it is the Audemars Piguet Remastered Chronograph. I'm a big fan of vintage Audemars Piguet watches, specifically from the 1920s to the 1950s. This was one of the golden eras of Audemars Piguet watches when they made incredible complications in a variety of formats. And it was really what I feel are the roots of AP, right? That complications, just showcasing their amazing watchmaking ability. And the remaster lineup is kind of what is to AP what Vacheron has as the Historiques lineup. Essentially, it's just them re-releasing old classics from the Audemars Piguet archives. Now, when they re-released the remaster chronograph, I was a big fan of it personally, and I still very much am. It's quite rare to find a two-tone chronograph like the one in the remaster chronograph that I think is really, really well executed. Now, this kind of goes back to handmade watchmaking, because ultimately to execute a two-tone watch or a watch in a two-tone case like that, you can only do that by hand, essentially, right? To mix up those two metals and essentially blend them seamlessly to make a perfect fit is really only something that can be done through high-level artisanship that I think is very, very neglected in watchmaking today. Now, the overall aesthetics of the watch, I'm a big fan of also. That champagne dial, of course, that oversized movement that fits the case absolutely perfectly. It's just a stunning watch that I think you could pick up today right around $30,000, which I think is just an absolutely insane steal considering you're getting a Holy Trinity chronograph for around $30,000. You definitely can't say that, for example, Vacheron Constantin, or even, for example, Patek Philippe, where you're going to have to pay a lot more for something that has an in-house movement from the actual brand. I feel it's also important to mention that the execution of the remaster chronograph, I think, is just at a slightly higher level than, for example, the Royal Oak chronographs or even the Code 1159 chronographs that I feel just are a notch under in terms of just overall quality and aesthetics. I'm just a bigger fan of that vintage style in that watch, and although it was released in 2020 and completely underperformed, I think it's one of those watches that will become a cult classic, not just among Audemars Piguet fans, but among fans of high horology. Again, where are you realistically going to find a Holy Trinity chronograph like that, 3-register in two-tone with an in-house movement, and of course that beautiful display case back showing off AP's technical prowess when it comes to watchmaking for right around $30,000?